Hi, it's Wednesday, January 16th, but today is also the first day of week 2. We've gotten off to a bit of a slow start, and so the week 1 got extended up through yesterday and into today, and today I'm going to suggest is really the start of week 2. That means shifting the focus a little bit from the blogs, although we're still going to work with them and I'm going to ask you to read about them, but putting more attention onto Twitter. I'm going to give it sort of the focus for this particular week. I've got a lot of things I'd love to say, and I'm hoping that some of you can join the Google groups and Google Hangout tomorrow night, and we can talk about a number of things. I know that doesn't work for all of you, and I'll try to find some alternative times. But I'm going to just try to stay really focused on the things that I'm asking you to do right here in week 2 and show you a couple of things and then leave it at that and try to discuss things as the week goes on and in Google. So I hope you're all finding the course schedule at the top. Again, if you click on the course schedule itself, it will take you to the full overview of the class all the way through week 17, and then if you hover and click on the week, it takes you to the week that we're working on. I'm asking you to do quite a bit of reading this particular week. I know there's still challenges with the book. If you haven't got Social Media for Social Good, please let me know. I would also, again, really recommend that you consider the electronic version, and I'll show you why in a minute. But read Chapter 2 generally about social media, Chapter 4 about Twitter, and Chapter 7 about blogging. I'm also asking you to read 140 characters, the first 3 chapters. Now, all that might sound like a lot, but these are both very readable books written in a very straightforward style. The challenge really is to pay attention to them, take good notes, I'm really serious about that, and then see how these principles are being applied in the social media that you're reading, and then try to think about, and this is the challenge, how you're going to apply them in your own social media uses. So your own Twitter, your own blogging, your own use of Facebook for this class and beyond. So those are the 2 key readings, but then the third one is also start to follow nonprofit organizations. Check out their websites. Now, I've linked to a number down here. ASA School for Girls, an organization that I'm involved with, that takes you to their website. We're just a small organization, so we make lots of mistakes. Charism, also local. Charity Water is generally considered one of the most sophisticated and successful users of social media, so they might be worth following. International Red Cross, similar. Surfrider Foundation that I profiled earlier, also a good international organization to look at. The other ones that I've mentioned are generally local, although the Wounded Warrior Project is also a national one. So the idea is to follow one of these or an organization that you're interested in and try to pay attention to their use. You'll see the word listen come up a lot. People talk about listening on Twitter, and in a large respect, that's what I'm asking you to do this week, is listen in on Twitter. I do hope that we'll interact with each other, but definitely see how the professionals and the nonprofits are using that particular medium and how it's connecting up with their blogs and Facebook. So if you do all of that reading, that should set you up to do blog essay number 2. I've got these really short prompts, just write about style, the long form blog, the short form Twitter, but also status updates. And they're meant to be to get you thinking about the right topics, but then also be open to you reflecting on what you see in terms of, again, the stuff that you're reading, but maybe also the things that you're writing. What do you notice about trying to write in Twitter? What do you notice about the style of blogs as you're reading them? And so the idea here is sort of a compare and contrast the style. Obviously there's one short and one's long, but really try to work with the text. That's one of the keys to the essay. Work with the text. How are some of those principles being highlighted in these essays? What do you see showing up in people's use of Twitter? To do all of this, I'm recommending that you set up a Twitter account, and a number of you already have one of those. I've got a little extra thing here about figuring out your clout number. if that seems a little bit overwhelming to you, don't feel like you have to do that. If you can do it, I think it's an interesting thing to try out. Be sure to add an EC457 hashtag to tweets that have to do with the class. Try to get in that habit. That's a little bit different than tagging things on WordPress, but again, I'll try to show you how that works. And then as people in the class get their blogs and their Twitter account set up, you should start following them, particularly on Twitter. I've set up a Twitter group. So this is a good time maybe for me to switch over and show you that. So here's my Twitter account. This is if you came to me, if you followed the link and got to my profile, you'll see here a couple of things that I was just talking about are illustrated here. So I started using some hashtags, SMSG, social media for social good. So that I'm using that hashtag whenever I reference that particular book. I'm using the hashtag EC457 so that you know that I'm referencing the class. Now, as the course goes on, I'm going to continue to use this hashtag, but I'm going to change that up. I'll probably use a 140 character hashtag. I'll use web content hashtag, so everything relevant to the book and other topics in here. What I did was I picked up the Kindle edition of the book, and one of the neat features in there is that I can highlight things on my iPad and then send it directly to Twitter, and so that's what I got here. And so that takes me, if you follow that link, it takes you to the note that I highlighted, the sentence that I highlighted. So from the book, Social Media for Social Good, the social web is more casual in style and tone and more personal in its ability to connect individuals and nonprofits with similar causes, concerns, and passions. And I thought that was worth sharing with all of you. I've got another quote here that's about just the fact that we're all still learning and improving. So if you're working on the class and you're feeling like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong, relax, have fun. You're still learning and improving every day as we go through the class. So those are a couple of examples of tweets that come directly out of the class. This other one that I made earlier this evening is an example of listening. This is connected to the African Soul American Heart organization that I'm involved with, and I've been trying to follow and listen to groups who have similar kinds of missions. One of the suggestions that's in Social Media for Social Good. So Pads for Girls is an interesting organization, as is My Arms Wide Open, and they're both interested in educating girls, getting girls out of poverty, often in Africa, but not exclusively. That's where the ASA project is located, and we have within our organization a specific Panties and Pads program that we run for the village in Africa, and so Pads for Girls is very much connected to our organization. So I mainly follow, I retweet things that I like. I occasionally will reply to one of these organizations and encourage them to look at something that we've done. It hasn't developed into a significant relationship yet. We're not exchanging tweets, minute by minute, but it's a relationship that I'm trying to foster. And as Social Media for Social Good says, that takes time. You can also see I've been talking to Brock a little bit. I've been talking to Lawanda, so some people from class, a graduate student in here. But I've mentioned in the materials that you have lists, and so you can come and look at my lists, and I've got, I think, 4 of them going here. This is a great way to organize Twitter once you get further into it. I'm interested in following other people in Fargo, so I've got a Fargo list, a network nonprofit list, obviously very good for this class, and you can come in and you should have access to this, and you can click and you can see what nonprofits are tweeting, and you can decide if you want to follow some of those. Kate Bladow, who, if you've looked at the material, is somebody who did a guest lecture for me last year, and she works in this area, and so you can see a number of the organizations that I follow. Also relevant for you is our list, ecom at NDSU, and so I've left all of the students in this from last semester, and I've done that on the website and in Google+. You can let me know if that's a bad idea. It's kind of interesting for me to see a student like John Lyndon Smith letting me know that his ebook Hell is available for free on Amazon right now. Brock, as you can see, is an active tweeter in here. Paul Levinson, whose book I used last year, is a very active tweeter. I might have to take him out of the mix in here. He's going to start to dominate, and you see some more students from last year. You can also find the ones in this year, so Stanley's down here, final semester at NDSU. I mentioned Brock, LaWanda are on here, and and then recently added members. Who am I missing? Oh, Heather's also on here, and so I think I've gathered 4 of you so far. I've still got another 9. If you can send me your Twitter account, I'll add you to this list, and then you'll be able to find each other perhaps more easily. But if you use the EC457 tag, hopefully you'll be able to find us. Let me see if I can show you how that works. I guess I need to probably put myself in there. Let me go back to me. So the idea of the tag, I kind of skipped over this part of it. So so it says that this is about the class, but then if you want to see everything that's being said about the class because you might miss things, then you click on that and you can see how it's going. So here's it being used in a number of places. So you can see that even had to click a little bit further, but you can see LaWanda used it in a post yesterday, and then and then Stanley used it in a post 2 days ago, and I used it in a post on January 10th. So at some point, as there's more posting activity, you'd be able to click that and see either what's been said about class for the day or what's been said about class for a longer period of time. I think I'm looking at my notes here. I was going to stop there. I thought of one other thing. So I gave you a little bit of an idea of what to do with social media for social good. Again, looking for ideas. I picked out one on style and tone, something that's a little bit more to do with writing than some of the other things in there, so that's important. I picked up the one about learning and improving with each status update, kind of as a motivator, incentive. I've also got lots of notes in 140 characters. I thought I would just share one with you on page 13 that says, it's still in sort of the encouraging, get in, explore, try it out. It says, learn what this new medium means to you. Redefine conventions and openly set your own reasonable and practical bar. Above all, be declarative in your writing. So there's some advice for you from that book. And while in a face-to-face class, we'd probably talk about these books in more detail. The key is, and the challenge of an online class is to be a little bit more independent in your learning, to find the nuggets in these books that work for you, and then to be able to apply those. I'll try to give you a few more reading notes, but really a lot of that work is going to be on your shoulders to find the information in here, the ideas in here that are useful and relevant to you. Collect them, share them, and apply them in your blog essays, apply them in the social media work that you do. Alright, I really need to get a clock on these things. I get going a little too long. I'll stop it there. Hope to see some of you tomorrow night, and hope that week 2 goes well for us all.